What's up, man? To
Welcome
the
to the
weed.
wheeze.
Welcome to the weeds.
Sorry,
Next time I am gonna record.
I'm not saying what I just said. Who are we doing today? Did we decide?
I thought we were doing that
Mm.
Rodney guy.
Yeah, we're doing Rodney
Alcala, the
Alcala.
dating game serial killer. Y'all know why it's called the dating game serial killer?
We about to
'Cause,
find out.
well, he was.
Don't
Oh,
spoil it.
well, I mean, this isn't like news. He's called that because he was literally on. So y'all know the game show.
It's news
Well,
to
you know the
me.
game show where they do the cup where they like have the lady and they ask the questions.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
was on that show
Yeah.
and actually won it.
Fancy.
And then the lady that was on the show was
Me
like, I
too. Me
didn't go on
too.
a date with him because he was creepy. Oh, Laura,
Same.
it said Lori lost connection. Okay, she's back.
Is
It
she
was
though?
saying connecting. It said
Am I?
connecting. Anyway, so are you reading this one, Libs?
Well, sure. Let me slap it out here.
Slap it, baby.
Ah,
Slap. Hot.
okay, so starting in with Rodney James Alcala, born Rodrigo Jaquez Alcala, uh, August 23rd, 1943. He died July 24th, 2021. Was an American serial killer and convicted sex offender who was sentenced to death in California for 7 murders committed between 1977 and 1979. He also pleaded guilty and received a sentence of 25 years to life for 2 further murders committed in New York. He was also indicted.
Yes.
Is that the word?
Indicted.
Okay, for murder in Wyoming, although charges filed were dropped. While Alcala had been conclusively linked to 8 murders, the true number of victims remains unknown and could be as high as 130. Ooh,
Yeah.
baby.
He wasn't a very good guy. And he had really crazy looking wavy
Mm,
hair.
he did have very curly
I don't
hair.
know if it was necessarily curly. It just looks
Not
wavy.
one half is curly. Half is curly, half is wavy.
One half.
Lori's thinking, what the hell are you talking about?
Right, I can't see the photos.
Oh,
Um, Akala compiled a collection of more than 1,000 photographs of women, teenage girls, and boys, mainly in sexually explicit poses. In 2016, he was charged with the 1977 murder of a woman identified in one of his photos. Alcala is known to have assaulted one other photo subject, and police have speculated that others could be rape or murder victims
yeah.
as well. Prosecutors have said that Akala toyed with his victims, strangling them until they lost consciousness, then waiting until they revived, sometimes repeating this process several times before finally
Nope.
killing them.
He was one of those that kept him on the brink. So,
Playing with his food,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he wasn't a very good
Uh,
guy.
Oh, what? Huh?
yeah,
Um,
most serial
yeah,
killers
well,
are.
I mean, like,
What the heck
what if you
happened?
met a serial killer that was just like a super nice guy, but he liked to murder people in his spare time?
So Ted
I mean, I
Bundy.
don't know if Ted Bundy was a nice guy. I don't know.
But everybody thought he
I
was a
mean,
nice guy,
true.
you
He
know?
did work for the suicide hotline. Like
Same.
he straight up worked at the suicide.
I
He
work for
probably
No,
told
Ted
people to kill
Bundy.
apparently, like they
themselves.
said, he was real good at working at the
Same.
suicide hotline. Like he was real good at talking people down. Which I was like, that sounds like the complete opposite of what
Same.
I thought he would want to do.
Right. Um, one police detective described Akala as a killing machine, and others compared him to Ted Bundy.
See,
See?
see,
See?
see?
Akala is often referred to as the dating game
Mhm.
killer, as he appeared on the television show The Dating Game in 1978 during his
Yeah.
murder
Oh yeah, I
spree.
forgot it was during his murder spree.
He killed somebody the year before. He's all like, you know what? Maybe
Well,
I need to
actually, I
find
think it was
love.
like a couple of months before he was on the dating game, and then he won it. Like, because there's like video evidence on YouTube of him actually winning the game. Like he's the one that got picked. So apparently he was pretty suave and debonair.
Not bad for him. Rodney Alcala was born in San Antonio, Texas, the third of four children born to a Mexican American couple, Raul Bucor and
Raul.
Raul.
yes, and Ana
I thought you were puking for
Oh
a
no!
second. I got so scared. I was like,
I
not
thought it was
here.
cut out the podcast.
Yes.
I don't think we would hear puking though. We just hear diarrhea in the toilet,
Yeah, probably that. Uh,
screaming. Why is it hot?
um, my ass was on fire. Uh, in 1951, Alcala's father moved the family to Mexico and abandoned them three
Damn.
years later. R.I.P.
And there he went
Dang.
to kill possibly 130 people.
Amen. In 1954, when Alcala was age 11, his mother moved him and his two sisters.
Hello?
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 Him and his two sisters. You guys are reading that? He moved him and his two sisters, but there was four children.
Oh,
Where's the fourth?
don't worry about that one.
I'm
Don't worry
sorry.
about that one.
I was like, what's happening?
Look, I'm not reading it. Let me pull it up. Because I'm not reading this. You're the only one that's reading anything, Libs.
Right, I'm in the kitchen, so I can't go on my
You can
computer.
check your
So
phone.
Laura's like, I'm in the kitchen. Bitch, we're all on our phones right now.
yeah, but I'm not looking at it. I'm
Okay,
doing
hang
other
on,
things.
hang on.
I gotta do other
So,
things.
early
Right.
bird.
Like
But
feed my dog
anyways, a
carrots.
couple paragraphs up, right? It's all like Rodney was born in San
Yeah,
Antonio, Texas, the third of four children born to a Mexican American family, right? And then, his father moved them to Mexico and then dipped
yeah,
out 3 years later. And then it says in 54, when he was 11, his mother moved him and his two sisters to LA.
Maybe
Where's the
11
yeah.
was older.
where's the
He went
fourth
into the
child?
cartel. Leave him alone. His
Okay.
family member's El Chapo. You didn't know that?
Did not. My bad.
Or maybe the father dipped with the youngest and was like, let's go, bitch.
Let's go.
Kidnapped the youngest is
Let's
like,
go,
bye.
Raul Jr.
Raul Jr. Akala was
I don't know what it. I don't know.
was academically gifted student who was reasonably popular among his peers and was supported by his family. He attended various private schools during his youth before graduating from Cantwell Sacred Heart of Mary High School. He was on the yearbook planning committee and the track and cross
Oh shit.
country teams. In 61, at the age of 17, he joined the Army to become a paratrooper and served
Well,
as a clerk.
we're
During
not.
his service,
We're not accomplished. I want to be a paratrooper, someone who jumps out of planes, but actually, I'm going to be a clerk who handles paperwork.
same. During his service, he was noted by his commanding officer as being manipulative, vindictive, and
See, that's bad
insubordinate.
because the U.S. military is like, hey, this guy's not a good man. Okay, maybe we shouldn't have him doing stuff. I'm just
Maybe we shouldn't have him do
saying.
this job.
Akala was disciplined on several occasions for assaulting young women.
Oh, damn.
I forgot.
Right?
I
In
forgot. There's so
64,
much. There were so many indicators that he was going to do something, and nobody did anything about it.
they're all just like, he's
I,
not a good fit for
the
here. And kick him out of
60s.
the army, but
It's the 60s. Women didn't have rights then.
Amen.
They don't have rights now either, so it's
Amen.
fine. Fuck
In
everybody.
64, after what was described as a nervous breakdown, same, during which he went AWOL and hitchhiked from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to his mother's house in California, Akala was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, same,
You
and
think?
estimated to have an IQ of 135 by a
Not
military
saying.
psychiatrist. He was
So I didn't know that he was already diagnosed with APD.
uh
That's
yeah,
fucking crazy. So you know that antisocial personality disorder is literally just being a diagnosed psychopath. So he is already a diagnosed psychopath, and they
amen.
they continue to let him be free and kill all these
Ouch.
people.
Yes.
After he already was
Yeah,
disciplined on
for
several occasions
assaulting.
for assaulting
Yes,
young women by a military psychiatrist. He was subsequently discharged from the army on medical grounds. Other, they're like, you're too crazy
got
for us.
diagnosed as psychopath. They're like, we don't need him here because he's gonna enjoy this stuff too much.
A little too much. Other
He already
Yeah,
has.
diagnosis.
obviously he already has.
um, Other diagnoses later proposed by various psychiatric experts at his trials included narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, malignant narcissism with psychopathy, and sexual sadism
I
comorbidity.
don't.
Anyways, after being discharged from the army, he graduated from UCLA School of Arts and Architecture. He later studied film under Roman Polanski at New York
Yeah,
University.
Polanski is like a big dude.
Um, Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Starting
I'm just
off with
kidding.
his
Hell yeah.
criminal history here. The Shapiro assault on September 25th,
He assaulted Ben
1968.
Shapiro.
A pass, amen.
Same.
Anyways, sorry.
A passing motorist named Donald Haynes called the police after witnessing Alcala lure Tolly Shapiro, aged 8.
Yeah, I
Oh my
forgot.
God.
I forgot there
Hey.
was a child involved in this guy.
Into his
Yeah.
Hollywood apartment. Shapiro, who was residing at the Chateau Marmont with her family, was approached by Alcala on his way to school, or on her way to school, when he pulled up beside her in his car and asked if she needed a ride. Shar- Shapiro initially refused, but when she heard him say that he knew her parents, she got in his car. Alcala then took her to his apartment where he told Shapiro he wanted to show her a picture. When the police arrived, Shapiro was found alive in a pool of her own blood, having been raped and beaten with a steel bar. Alcala had fled. Shapiro was in a coma for 32 days and spent months in recovery. Bitch, they knew they couldn't be all like, damn, this guy's let's find the leasee of this apartment, right? And
Well,
find out his
it's
name,
going to
right?
explain in this next one. Quit jumping to conclusions, Libs.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad.
Jump,
You
baby,
don't need
jump.
to jump right now. If you jump, you go poop on yourself. Just chill.
Anyways, to evade the arrest warrant stemming from the
See?
Shapiro assault, Alcala left California. Okay, but if I seen him on the
Yeah,
dating
but
game
this was
and I
in
was a cop, I'd be all like,
1968. Okay, it's not like today. Like if you ran away,
my
then
bad.
all they had was landlines back then. How the and like Polaroid cameras. They didn't have no way to send email. The internet wasn't even invented yet.
Same.
Yeah, we weren't invented in '68. So
Close enough.
it's like,
He enrolled. Okay, so after he
yeah.
fled the state to uh, avoid his arrest warrant here, he enrolled at NYU using the name John Berger.
John.
Cornelius. John.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
No, you
What?
said John.
John.
Yeah, I know. I
I
was
know. I
John
said,
Burr.
uh-oh.
It's always John. Always John.
You might, I was about to say,
Watch out, Laura.
you might need
Couldn't
to do
wait.
some research, Lori. You
Right.
might need to do some research.
We had already discussed
Just,
this.
just, just be like, hey, were you in California in 1968 around this time?
Yes.
um, Cornelia Criley, Criley. We're gonna go with Criley. A
Whatever you
23
want.
a 23-year-old Trans World Airlines flight attendant was found raped and murdered in her Manhattan apartment on June 12th, 1971. Alcala had strangled her with her own nylon stockings. Shame. Leaving her dead in her apartment at. Why do I need the whole address? He left her dead
At
in her apartment.
1470
It's
83rd Street, if
believed that.
anybody wants to know.
It's believed that Criley met Alcala as she moved into her new apartment and she accepted his help moving in some furniture. Her murder remained unsolved until
See,
2011.
ladies, this
Damn.
tells you if a man offers you help with moving shit, tell him to fuck off.
Amen. We don't need no man
Fuck you.
around here.
Can you help me
Exactly.
get groceries into my car? I'm crippled. Fuck you. You're not murdering me. I seen Silence of
Amen.
the Lambs. You're gonna steal me and wear my skin.
Yes, yes, I am. How do you know?
So let's get on to his identification, arrest, and conviction. In 71, he obtained a job at a New Hampshire art camp um, as a counselor for children using a slightly different alias. John Berger. Ooh, switch it up.
Fuck is a burger? What beef jerker?
With you.
What's your name? Finley Wrinkleton? Did I already give you an alien?
The FBI added Alcala to his list of 10 most wanted fugitives in early 71. He's on the FBI fugitive list and he goes on the dating game show and
Yep.
still isn't caught.
Yeah.
A few months later, two campers at the arts camp noticed his photo on an FBI poster at the post office. That August, Alcala was arrested and extradited to California. By then, Tally Shapiro's parents had relocated their entire family to Mexico and refused to allow Shapiro to testify at the trial. Without their primary witness, prosecutors were unwilling to charge Alcala with the rape and attempted murder. He was instead convicted of child molestation, then a lesser charge, and sentenced to 3 years. Alcala was paroled in 74 after 34 months in prison. Release and rearrest. Less than 2 months after his release, Alcala was rearrested, which couldn't even make it 90 days.
I gotta go kill somebody. Shit.
Like, goddamn. Alcala was arrested and convicted for assaulting a 13-year
Yep.
old. Oh,
Yeah.
Huh?
identified in court records as Julie J.
Julie
Huh?
J.
Oh, yes, Julie J. Who had accepted what she thought would be a ride to school. This guy giving bitches rides to school. Alcala was gained parole after serving 2 years, released in 77 as a sex offender.
Hoover disappearance. Hello?
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, I had
Huh?
to text Cody
I
back.
thought,
He's picking up my
well,
medicine
I thought
for
you
me.
texted me about the crackhead throwing stuff out his window.
No, no, sadly.
Throw me out the window.
I wish somebody would throw me off a window too. After his second release in 77, his Los Angeles parole officer made the unusual choice of permitting a repeat offender and a known flight risk to travel to New York City. Did they fire this
I don't
parole
know.
officer?
Maybe they made him
Probably.
president.
A New York Police Department investigators now believe that a week after returning to Manhattan, Alcala killed Ellen Jane Hoover, 23-year-old daughter of nightclub owner Herman Hoover, and goddaughter of Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. Oh,
Yeah.
God damn. I feel like those
That
names are important, but
Dean
I don't
Martin
know who
and
they
Sammy
are.
Davis Jr. were both uh, very famous musicians. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hoover was last seen at her New York apartment on July 15th, 1977. Her date book showed that she had an appointment to meet with one John Berger, not Berger,
He already used that.
Berger,
He already
that
used that
same day.
alias though.
I know he used both aliases. What?
What?
Sorry, Ben was talking to me. And then later in 1977, the FBI received a tip about Alcala's 1971 arrest in New Hampshire and related to the Shapiro case in California. Alcala admitted to knowing Hoover under questioning, but investigators could not arrest him since they had not found her body. Her remains were discovered in 1978, buried under heavy rocks on a hillside overlooking the Hudson River, near a location on the John D. Rockefeller estate where an aspiring model would later report that Berger had taken photos of her.
Berger.
Berger, if you
Berger.
will. Oh. He moved to Los Angeles in 1977. Alcala worked briefly at Los Angeles Times as a typesetter and was interviewed by a member of the Hillside Strangler Task Force as part of their investigation of known
Damn.
sex offenders. Although Alcala was ruled out as the strangler, he was arrested and served a brief sentence for marijuana possession
This dude just can't stay out of fucking
During
jail.
this period,
During this
appa-
period.
during this period, Alcala convinced hundreds of young men and women that he was a professional fashion photographer and took
Okay.
pictures of them for his
Okay. Look.
portfolio.
Another thing, audience.
I just want
Look.
to take a photo of
Another
you.
thing, audience member. If someone says they are a professional fashion photo person, they're fucking lying. Okay. Especially, I mean, like, okay, he's in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles is kind of believable. But like in Milwaukee,
Right.
when Jeffrey Dahmer was getting all these gay dudes, I'm a photographer for a magazine, and I think there is no fashion photographers in Milwaukee with
Photographer.
Johnson. Okay, stop being stupid.
Sorry.
Stop being stupid.
See, some of y'all deserve what you got because y'all were that dumb.
I
No,
didn't.
kidding.
I was not
Anyways,
saying that or implicating that at all. That was live by yourself. I would just say that don't be dumb. And if someone comes up to you, if some
Don't be
drunk
dumb.
person at a club comes up to you and says, I'm a fashion photographer," no, they're not. No, they're not. Okay, just don't do it.
don't do it. A Times co-worker later recalled that Akala shared his photos with his workmates. I thought it was weird, but I was young. I didn't know anything, she said. When I asked him why he took photos, he said their moms
What the
asked
fuck?
him to. I remember the girls were naked, said Leanne
You remember the
Leadham,
girls with naked.
who was 17 when Akala photographed her in 79. Reported that he said he was a professional, so in my mind, I was being a model for him. Leadham further reported that the portfolio Akala shared with her also included spread after spread of naked teenage
See,
boys.
what's her name? Leanne Leland. Your statement right there just gave me a headache because you said I thought I was being a model for him, but then got on to say, "Oh, but he had a book full of naked teenage boys." At what point in this whole situation do you realize that you were not a model for him? What model? What photographer for models has just spread after spread of naked teenage boys? that's not that's
This
not
one,
something.
baby.
Right.
Lori, you do photography and stuff
What?
sometimes. Do you have spread after spread of naked teenage boys?
I can't tell you. I can't
I'm
reveal my
just saying,
secrets.
has girls' moms ever asked you to take pictures of them naked? I'm pretty sure not. Like the moms may have
No.
asked to do those types of photos, but I'm talking about of their kids. No.
No.
So, anyways, just to get the,
Only on
I was gonna
Wednesdays.
say, no,
Only on Wednesdays.
that's
Yes.
when we upload episodes of this podcast, people. Anyway, continue. I'm getting frustrated.
In in 78, in the midst of his killing spree, Akala was a contestant on the popular game show, The Dating Game. Host Jim Lange introduced him as a successful photographer. Between takes, you might find him skydiving or
I mean,
motorcycling.
maybe.
Jed Mills, a fellow,
I said maybe. I don't
huh?
know if he actually skydived or motorcycle. He probably lied about that too.
He was a paramedic for the army. He wanted to be a
I
paramedic.
mean,
Same thing.
I don't
Hair
think that's the
bitch.
same thing, but it could be. Anyway,
Anyways, Jed Mills, a fellow Bachelor contestant on the episode, later described Alcala as a very strange guy with bizarre opinions. A-
Same.
he was strange. He had
Alca-
bizarre. What was his bizarre opinions? I wish they would have gone. I
I
wish they would have
wish I
gone into more
knew.
context.
Right. Alcala won the competition and a date with the episode's bachelorette. Oh my God, Cheryl Bradshaw, who subsequently refused to go out with him because she
See,
found
I
him
told you.
creepy. Same.
Good job, Cheryl Bradshaw. You used your instincts. Like most people in this situation probably should have, except for the children. I don't blame the children because children don't know any better. They're innocent.
Always blame the children. They could have. They have brains.
No, no, we're
They could have
not gonna
thought.
blame. We're not gonna blame these
Brain.
children.
We're not
We
gonna
are not
brain the
going to
children.
blame these children who were molested and raped by this grown man. Refuse to do that.
He does.
I refuse to do that. Now, these women that are, if you are 17 and above and you're getting convinced in this stuff, then I blame you because you should know better and not be like, I thought I was the model for him.
You're
Right.
still a child.
It's gonna be my excuse now. I thought I was the model for them.
Me too.
See. Anyways, on November 9th, 1977, Alcala murdered Jill Terry Barcombe, an 18-year-old girl from Oneida, New
Oneida,
York.
yeah,
Oneida, New York, at disposed of her body on a dirt path near Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles. Barcombe was found in a knee to chest position and naked from the waist down. There were signs of sexual assault, and she had been strangled with a pair of blue rope ties and beaten. She also had three bite marks on her right breast. Initially, authorities believed Barcombe was a victim of the Hillside Strangler. However, after arrests of Kenneth
Bianchi,
Bianchi and Angelo
Buono,
Bianchi and Angelo,
Buono,
what is it?
yeah,
Buono? Okay.
Whatever he said.
Neither of whom who confessed to or were convicted of her murder, authorities determined that her case was unrelated. On December 16th, 1977, 27-year-old nurse Georgia Marie Wickstead was discovered dead in her Malibu apartment. She was last seen when she drove another nurse, Barbara Gale, home from a bar. When Wickstead did not show up for work the next day, Gale and their coworkers reported her missing. Police arrived at Wickstead's apartment to find signs of forced entry. Wickstead was posed naked on her bedroom floor, strangled with her nylons. She had been sexually assaulted, her skull had been bashed in, and her genitals had been mutilated. Prosecutors later used DNA evidence and a found at the scene to convince
To
convict
convince Alcala.
Alcala.
You did it. I didn't do it, but your
Yeah.
handprints there. Wait. Okay, that's pretty convincing.
On June 24th, 1978, Charlotte Lee Lamb, a 32-year-old legal secretary from Santa Monica, was found dead in the laundry room of an apartment complex where she was living in El
Sure.
Segundo?
I have no idea.
Segundo. Sure. She had
El
been
Segundo.
sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled with a shoelace.
Homie just using fucking everything.
He's like, I'm gonna do it with a shoelace. And was posed with her hands behind her back. DNA at the scene would match that of Alcala, and DNA on a pair of earrings found in his storage locker after Robin Christine Samso's 1979 murder would eventually prove to match Lamb's DNA. Woo, daddy, he
Yeah.
killed a lot of people. On February 14th, 1979, Alcala picked up 15-year-old hitchhiker Monique Hoyt in Riverside County. He drove Hoyt to his apartment where he raped her. Then he traveled to a secluded mountainous area in Joshua Tree, California, where Alcala took photos of her in her underwear, as well as photos of him raping her once again. He bound and gagged her and began a sustained assault, which included further rape and sodomy. Alcala bludgeoned Hoyt in the head with a rock, but Hoyt escaped when Alcala entered a gas station bathroom on the drive back to Riverside County. Hoyt filed a police report. Hoyt filed a police report about her attack, and Alcala was arrested, but his mother posted his bail.
Yeah.
What a
My
bitch.
mama would have been like, no, I don't even know.
No.
Fucking damn.
My mama wouldn't have said
That's
anything.
dark.
Would have even
That's
answered
dark.
the call.
That's dark.
Right. Why is that dark?
We all know why it's dark. I'm not saying it,
I'm not
but we
saying it, but
know.
we know.
Do we know? I don't know. I need someone to tell me
No,
why.
I'm not saying it. You're not gonna guilt trip me into saying it, Lori.
On June 13th, 1979.
Gonna pick right up.
Jill Marie Parento, a 20-year-old computer key punch operator, left work early to go to a baseball game. When she did not make it to work the following morning, police went to her Burbank apartment and found signs of forced entry. Parento was dead, naked on her bathroom floor. She was posed with pillows under her shoulders, and she had been sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled. Her killer cut himself crawling through a window on, and blood evidence would later identify Alcala as the perpetrator. Parento's friend, Catherine Bryant, testified that she and Parento had met Alcala at a club several times before. On June 20th, 1979, Robin Christine Samso, a 12-year-old girl from Huntington Beach, disappeared as she rode a borrowed bicycle from her Huntington Beach home to her ballet class. Her decomposing body was found 12 days later in Los Angeles foothills, dumped off Santa Anita Canyon Road. She had been beaten, raped, stabbed with a knife. Samso's friend told the police that a stranger had approached them on the beach asking him to take their pictures. Detectives circulated a sketch of the photographer, and Alcala's parole officer recognized him.
Finally.
Love that for him. um. Anyways, now to his arrest, trials, and
Yeah.
conviction. Alcala was arrested in 1979 and held without bail. He went on trial for Samso's murder, was found guilty in May of 1980, and sentenced to death in June. However, the verdict was overturned by the California Supreme Court in '84 because jurors had been improperly informed of his prior sex crimes. Sex crimes. In May 1986, after a second trial, virtually identical to the first except for omission of the prior criminal record testimony, he was again convicted and sentenced to death in August. So either way, they're like, bitch, you're gonna fucking die. Okay. they don't care which way you twist it. In
Stop it.
1992, in
Sorry.
1992, California Supreme Court upheld the verdict, but Alcala filed a federal habeas corpus petition in 2001. A United States District Court judge granted it, overturning Alcala's second conviction. That decision was upheld in 2003 by a Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals panel, in part because a witness was not allowed to support Alcala's contention that the park ranger who found Samso's body had been hypnotized by the police
Excuse me.
investigators.
What?
And yeah.
He was hypnotized. That damn genie did it. Anyways, I should be convicted because they got a genie to hypnotize him. Fucking
Amen. While preparing for their third prosecution in 2003, Orange County investigators learned that Alcala's DNA sampled under new state law over his objections matched semen left at rape murder scenes of two Los Angeles women. Additional evidence included another cold case DNA match in 2004 led to Alcala's indictment for the murders of four additional women. Jill Barcombe, 18, and New York Owl,
what?
motherfucker.
Calm down.
What a name.
What a name. Anyways, whew. A New York runaway found rolled up like a ball in a Los Angeles ravine in 1977. Why is he obsessed with killing all these New York people in LA?
And you know
Because fuck
why?
them New
You know why?
Yorkers.
Because they are travelers who just now moved to California, didn't know that many people, so therefore they didn't have many people to say that they were missing.
Interesting, interesting. Um, anyways, that sucks. And originally thought to have been convicted, have been a victim of the Hillside Strangler, Georgia Wickstead, bludgeoned in her Malibu apartment in 1977. Charlotte Lamb, 31, raped and strangled and left in the laundry room of an El
Yeah, Facundo.
Segundo apartment complex in 1978. And Jill Parento, 21, killed in her Burbank apartment in 79. All of the bodies were found posed in carefully chosen positions. Another pair of earrings found in Alcala's Seattle storage locker had residue that matched Lamb's DNA. During his incarceration between the second and third trials, Alcala wrote and self-published a book, You, the Jury, in which he claimed innocence in the Samso case and suggested a different suspect. He also filed two lawsuits against the California penal system for a slip and fall incident and for refusing to provide him a low fat diet. Amen. Gotta keep it healthy, baby. In 2003, prosecutors entered a motion to join the SAMSO charges with those of the four newly discovered victims. Alcala's attorneys contested it. As one of them explained, if you're a juror and you have here one murder case, you may be able to have reasonable doubt, but it's very hard to say when you have reasonable doubt on all five, especially when 4 or 5 aren't alleged by eyewitnesses but are proven by DNA matches. And so they're all like, bitch, the other one showed
Yeah,
DNA, this one doesn't, so
but that's still just fucking fucked up.
don't put them together. Um, In 2006, the California Supreme Court ruled in the prosecution's favor, and in February 2010, Alcala stood trial on the 5 joint charges. For the third trial, Alcala elected to act as his own attorney. He took the stand in his own defense. Love that for him. And 4 or 5 hours played the roles of both interrogator and witness, asking himself questions and addressing himself as Mr. Alcala in a deeper than normal voice, followed by answering them. Same.
Damn. Okay.
He was committed, okay? Very committed to his shit. Oh my god, no. Sorry.
Yes.
I got
Got
okay.
dookies.
No.
Yes.
I lost my spot. My phone scrolled. For the third trial, Akala elected to act as his own attorney. Oh wait, I already read that.
It's
Bitch,
deeper
shut the
than
fuck
normal
up.
voice, followed
Um,
by answering them. There,
yeah,
there. Okay.
yes. During this self-questioning and answering session, that he told jurors, often in a rambling monotone, that he was at Knott's Berry Farm applying for a job as a photographer at the time
Knott's
Samso was
Berry.
kidnapped. He also showed, hell yeah, he was. He showed the jury a portion of his 1978 appearance on the dating game in an attempt to prove that the earrings found in his Seattle locker were his, not
What?
Samso's. Jed
How does he
Mill,
being on the
yeah, I
dating
don't
game say
fucking
that they
know.
were his earrings? Was he wearing earrings on the dating game?
I don't
I
know,
don't know.
was
I don't remember. I never noticed.
I don't think so. Jed Mills, the actor who competed against Akala on the show, told a reporter that that earrings were not yet a socially acceptable accoutrement for men
Accoutrement.
in 1978. I had never seen a man with an earring in his ear, he said. I would have
See,
noticed
that's
them
what I was
on him.
thinking. Yeah,
So
he wasn't
no, he
wearing
was
'em.
not.
But the word that word was accoutrement. Yeah.
Accoutrement.
That word is whatever she said it was, okay?
Amen. Akala made no significant attempt to dispute the four added charges, other than to assert that he could not remember killing any of the women. As part of his closing argument, he played the Arlo Guthrie song Alice's Restaurant, in which the protagonist tells a psychiatrist that he wants to kill. After less than 2 days, the jury convicted him on all
You
five
keep saying
counts of first-degree murder.
you keep saying convinced like they're convincing him that he did it. Pro- Promise you that he did
They convinced him on all the five
it.
counts. Okay. Anyways, a surprise witness during the penalty phase of the trial was Shapiro.
Bum, ba,
Ooh,
dum.
surprise witness.
Come back,
Uh,
bitch.
I'm from the block, baby.
Richard Rappaport. Richard Rappaport, a psychiatrist paid by Alcala and the only defense witness, testified that borderline personality disorder could explain Alcala's claims that he had no memory of committing the murders. The prosecutor argued that Alcala was a sexual predator who knew that what he was doing was wrong and didn't care. In March 2010, Alcala was sentenced to death for a third time.
They gonna make sure you get
After his con- After his 2010 conviction, New York authorities announced that they would no longer pursue Alcala because of his status as a convict awaiting execution. Nevertheless, in January 2011, a Manhattan jury indicted him for the murders of Criley and Hoover in 71 and 77. In June 2012, he was extradited to New York, where he initially entered not guilty pleas on both counts.
We're okay.
In, in December 2012, he changed both pleas to guilty, citing as a desire to return to California to pursue appeals of his death penalty conviction. On January 7th, 2013, a Manhattan judge sentenced Alcala to an additional 25 years to life. The death penalty has not been an option in New York State since 2007.
so.
Yeah. In March 2010, the Huntington Beach, California, and New York police departments released 120 of Alcala's photographs and sought public's help in identifying them in hope of determining if any of the women
Get
and
out!
children he photographed were
Get
I
additional
out!
don't want to get
victims.
out,
Get
bro.
out! Get out! Sorry,
Don't
my
tell him
dog
what
is
to
being
do.
loud as shit. I can't hear anything. Fucking asshole.
Anyways, the police released 120 of his photographs and sought the public's help in identifying them in hope of determining if any of the women and children he photographed were additional victims. Approximately 900 additional photos could not be made public, police said, because they were too sexually
Yeah.
explicit. Damn, baby. In the first few weeks, police reported that approximately 21 women had come forward to identify themselves, and at least 6 families said they believe they recognized loved ones who disappeared years ago and were never found. None of the
Ooh,
photos
damn.
were unequivocally connected to a missing persons case or unsolved murder until 2013. 110 of the original photos remain posted online, and police continue to solicit the public's help with further identifications. Most of the subjects remain unidentified. Police fear that some of the subjects may be additional cold case victims. Following Akala's death in 2021, 68-year-old Morgan Rowan contacted Steve Hodel, one of the original investigators on the Shapiro case, and described being attacked by Akala in July 1968 when she was 16. Rowan claimed that while she was living in Hollywood, she was approached by Akala at a teen nightclub on the Sunset Strip and entered his car believing he would be driving to an IHOP. Ooh, baby, IHOP. Instead,
I
Akala
have.
drove to his apartment a few blocks away where he said he was having a party. When they arrived, Akala dragged Rowan into his bedroom, barred the door, and then beat and raped her. Rowan was rescued by friends and acquaintances who broke into the room through a window. How'd they know where she was?
Uh, they just did, okay?
Because they're stalking her.
Okay, okay. Akala fled and Rowan was pulled from the apartment by her friends. In 2011, investigators in Marion County, California, north of San Francisco, announced that they were confident that Akala was responsible for the October 9th, 1979 murder of 19-year-old Pamela Jean Pam Lamson, who disappeared after making the trip to Fisherman's Wharf to meet a man who offered to photograph her. He Her battered naked body was subsequently found in Marion County near a hiking trail. With no fingerprints or usable DNA, charges were never filed, but police claimed that there was sufficient evidence to convince them. Hey, at least they're
I
convincing
know,
this
but you
time,
said
baby.
convinced instead of convinced.
No.
The one time you needed the right word, you did the wrong one.
But police claimed that there was sufficient evidence to convince them that Akala
Yes.
committed the crime. In September 2016, Akala was charged with the murder of 2008-year-old
2008-year-old,
Christine Ruth Thornton,
28-year-old.
28-year-old Christine
Oh,
Christina Ruth Thornton. Thornton and her lover moved away from her family to live in San Antonio, Texas, after they split up in Biloxi,
Biloxi.
Mississippi. In
Yeah.
Biloxi. Okay. Okay, Biloxi. In
Okay.
June 1977, she was last seen hitchhiking and was never heard from again. In 2013, an image made public by Huntington Beach Police Department and NYPD of a dark-haired woman riding a motorcycle while wearing a yellow shirt was recognized by Thornton's sister. Her body was found in 82 near Granger, Wyoming, approximately 6 miles from I-80, but was not identified until 2015 when DNA supplied by Thornton's relatives matched tissue samples from her remains. Akala admitted to taking the photo, but not to killing the
The
woman.
woman.
He was approximately six, who was approximately 6 months pregnant at the time of her death. Thornton is the first alleged murder victim linked to the Akala photos made public in 2010. The 73-year-old Akala was reportedly too ill to make it the journey from California to Wyoming to stand trial on the new charges. RIP. In 2010, Seattle police named Alcala as a person of interest in several unsolved murders in Washington state, since Alcala had rented a Seattle area storage locker in which investigators later found jewelry belonging to two of his California victims in 79. Other cold cases reportedly targeted for reinvestigation in California, New York, New Hampshire, and Arizona are the Sherry Ann Greenman, who was last seen in Waterville, Washington in September of 76, After she was released from the Douglas County Jail, a photograph found in Alcala's locker was shown to Freeman's family, and they confirmed it was not her.
That ain't her.
Uh, Sorry. Oh, okay. Antoinette Jean Whitaker, 13, was a student who had been living in a foster home when she walked out with an unidentified man on the night of July 9th, 1977. A week later, her body was found fully clothed and propped up on her hands and knees in a vacant lot in Lake City, Seattle. She had been stabbed to death. There was no evidence that she had been sexually assaulted. On February 17th, 1978, Joyce Francine Gaunt, who was 17, was found at a picnic area in Seward Park, Seattle. She was nude, lying on her face. Her skull had been crushed. The developmentally disabled teen had also been beaten. Aw, man. He he
Oh
snagged
man.
he snagged a
Yep.
special ed.
He shows
Aw,
no
bruh.
qualms with anybody.
He doesn't
Yep, he
discriminate.
doesn't discriminate.
Love that for him. Um,
Oh man.
Anyways, the
These are me up.
developmentally disabled teen had also been beaten, strangled, and sexually assaulted. She had been living in a group home on Capitol Hill when she was last seen leaving to meet with an unidentified man on February 16th. On to his death. While on California's death row, Alcala died of a heart attack at a hospital in Kings County on July 24th, 2021, at the age of 77.
That was like the
Good for
shortest
him.
paragraph out of this whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah, it was.
He did.
Um, Also, if you want to find out more about him, there's an episode of him on 48 Hour Mystery. Uh,
They have film
All
called The
right.
Dating
a
Game Killer.
Sounds good.
biograph, yeah, a biographical film called The Dating Killer. A three-part television documentary series about Alcala was released called Dating Death. And in 2024, Netflix released a biographical film titled Woman of the Hour, directed and starring Anna Kendrick. And the film depicts several of Alcala's murders as well as his appearance on the dating game in the midst of the killing sprees.
Huh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I think this has been the weed.
All
Paperboy
right.
gotta go. Bye bye.
Adios. Bye.
Goodbye.